coming right there.
All right, hey team, welcome back to Tactical Rifleman. We are working our way up on our panel here to question number 2 for our roundtable. This is Susan. Her question is self-defense moves for hair grabs, comma, not just from the rear, but also from the front. Amber, you're the only one with the hair. I'll let you start with this one.
Yeah, so if we're specifically addressing hair grabs, the problem isn't necessarily literally them grabbing the hair, but the control they have over me because they've controlled my hair. And there might be other things that relate to this. If you're wearing a hoodie and you have a hood on and they grab the hood, or you have a helmet on that they've controlled, and it's something that you can't just get out of and bail out of. I have to deal with the control they have. So what I need to do is address the energy that they're giving me because of this control. So if they're grabbing my hair, what are they trying to do? Are they standing there just holding my head being weird? That's weird. There's nothing necessarily to address there. There's a stranger grabbing your head. But the bigger issue is going to be if they're pulling me or pushing me or trying to control me, put me into a wall, a car. So now I need to use whatever energy they're giving me to send some strikes and look to gain back control and get a better position in terms of what's going on. So typically, the way you see hair grabs in terms of domestic dispute or intimate kind of relationship issues where somebody is just raging and manic and grabs their hair, there's typically a pull with it. So when they pull me, I want to push. I want to respond to that energy by taking it and giving it back to them double and look to burst in and send some strikes and make them regret grabbing my hair.
Mm-hmm. Go ugly early. She mentioned helmets. When because you don't get to shoot everybody inside the building. That's just real life. There might be one bad guy in the whole building, but you go and you've got to control. You've got the flex cuff, even the non-combatants. If they get combative, the helmet is a great thing to strike with. But if they grab the helmet and they start getting control, we have the option of popping that chin strap, let them have the helmet, and then just go blunt trauma, just escalate it from there. Females or even males with long hair, like she said, where they grab the beard or whatever, you've got to work through it. Go ugly early.
But I think, so the principle-wise, I always like to hit the principles for those that don't know. She's saying maintain your balance, be balanced first, basically. Don't fall over, don't get dragged off balance. If you can help it, turn it into energy that's gonna help be offensive. And then there's a whole slew of things you can do from there once I've regained my ability to stabilize, to be offensive.
Yeah, because I think the natural tendency is to want to pull away. Mm-hmm. Right, somebody grabs something and start pulling it, the natural tendency to pull away is to pull away, and in this instance, that works against you. Because it's probably somebody bigger and stronger, and they have better control right from jump just because they have your head. And if you start trying to pull away as they're pulling you forward, you probably end up getting pulled down, and now things just got infinitely worse. Mm-hmm. And like Z just alluded to, once you're past that initial principle stage of, okay, I've got to maintain my balance, I've got to burst in to take away the ability to pull, now I have to be able to fight. There's no super secret moves at that point. Mm-hmm. It's now, okay, what can I do now that I've taken that space away? Now I've almost connected myself to them, probably thrown some strikes on the way in, but now I've just moved closer to somebody that's bigger and stronger than me. I have to be able to fight at that point.
I would add one more kind of thing to that, which is, a lot of people's natural reaction, this is not so much with a helmet case, but with the hair, your natural reaction is going to be for your hands to go up, right?
Because it hurts.
Yeah, it does hurt. And you want to keep that hair where it is, right? And so if you go there, you don't have your hands to use other than your fingernails or whatever. But what you do is once that person's up here, their brain is going to be up here, up top. Right, and if you can, like you're saying, once you get past that initial push or whatever, or during it, bring them down to the bottom with a kick, put their brain down there, make them have to defend something with a hand, right? So then that creates that release of their hand from your head.
So he's creating a dilemma, saying, hey, now you've got pain. Is it worth holding on to me, or do you need to address that pain that I'm giving you right now? I'm creating a dilemma, which is a fundamental approach or tactic for all martial arts or any self-defense, combatives, however, whatever verbiage we're using, to create dilemmas. You got to give me something.
You got to give them something to think about other than whatever they're wanting to do to me.
I think nowadays in the modern world, humans have evolved past just the basic get balance and fight them off. Now they've evolved to wearing detachable hair. You see that a lot on videos. And you see the fights and the hair just comes off. The hair comes off, so it's
I'm
like,
not
hey,
involved.
take it.
So the moral of this video is wear detachable hair.
Wear detachable hair if you're really worried about it.
A wig over your real hair.
Wear
It's fine.
tactical hair.
Tactical hair.
Tactical hair, man.
Right,
Heard it here first.
At SHOT Show 2020.
In the comment section under this video, be sure, I want to hear all the comments about tactical corn rolls and all that stuff.
If you ever seen a wig laid on the street, you know that there's been a successful avoidance of an attack.
We saw
in
an
that spot.
eyelash in the parking deck. Same thing.
Could be. Hey, some of them eyelashes are grabbable.
Maybe the next video we'll talk about eyelashes.
Eyelash grabs.
Speaking of my daughter, shorter eyelashes.
Which leads right into the next question, which is self-defense against the eyelash grab. No,
Strangely enough.
no, it's not. All right, guys, I'm gonna move on to the next question. All right. All right, best drills to start with in improving basic mobility for super new people to martial arts who also may be old or have some dodgy joints. So
You already know who wrote that question, I think. That's where you're at.
We do have an Australian following for this channel. We do. We also have it's an older crowd also. So as
Well, being the oldest bastard here,
the oldest
what do
rat
you-
bastard. Yeah, that's me.
I'll say this. Principle-wise, I let these guys own a gym, and they do a lot more formal work as far as the fitness world, right? Just because you're fit don't mean you're an expert on things, right? Yeah, I'm fit. Chicken sandwich,
Amen to
shout out to you. But I say the principle right off the bat for guys, and I've seen it, I'm 41, I'm only 41, but I have some parts that are dodgy as well. Dodgy, and Carl can speak to that, and I think we all could probably speak to that. There's things don't work as good as they used to when you were young as Amber, who's 15. Just kidding.
Feels so good.
So I say right there, get rid of the intensity that you used to have. And I say that as a relative thing, right? So, you know, if I used to be of the mindset that, hey, everything I do has got to be hardcore. And if I'm not working hard in a workout, then it's not worth doing it. So I was either like, I was 0 or 100 miles an hour for my workouts. And then I learned over time, I was like, hey man, just do a little bit, a lot. Do a little bit, a lot, stay consistent. It doesn't have to be a test of your willpower and heart every day. That is good to do, and it is a must if you're going to be somebody that wants to be capable of defending yourself and doing well in a violent occurrence. But not every day, a little, a lot. You get a lot from a little bit of intensity here and there, but every day just staying mobile, whether it be some super complex Olympic lift or just moving, getting up off the floor. Turkish get-ups we mentioned, Ryan,
get-ups, yeah.
which is essentially a technical stand-up with weight and stacking your shoulder, right? So things like that, a little, a lot, especially for the older crowd. I can't do it every day. I have a Baker's cyst behind my knee. I've had knee surgery, and it gets swollen up when I overuse this thing. So I kind of go off of how my body feels, right? But I am going to stay mobile every single day, and I'm going to do something every single day to keep that blood flowing, keep from that atrophy happening and those muscles that I may not use all the time as much as I did at one time, right? What do you guys got on that mobility?
I mean, I honestly don't have a ton to add to that. I think, you know, when it comes to fitness and whatever your goals are, you can control the duration, the time under tension, right? You can control the intensity, which is mostly what you address, and you can control, if there's weights involved, the weight. And so, like, even if it's a Turkish get-up and it's your first time doing that, maybe you go no weight. You know, you go through the motions. It's still a technical stand-up, but you go through the motions. You build up to that thing, whatever that is. If you're starting from 0, there's no point trying to jump to 50. You know, and when we were talking earlier, you know, Emery mentioned even Tai Chi. You know, go do something. It doesn't have to directly relate to combat in some way. If it gets you moving and it allows you to strengthen certain things that maybe have become weakened over time or injured or whatever, you know, the goal is to be better than you were yesterday. You know, not the person that you were 15 years ago.
And you're not going to do it all in one day.
That's right. And I think that's I think especially in the Instagram world, you know, because you see all kinds of crazy stuff, especially in the fitness industry. You know, people stacking dumbbells on their ends, and then you're standing on top of them and you're squat, you know, like crazy stuff, because that's what gets views and likes. But it's like in the martial arts world or the firearms world, the fundamentals are where it's at, and it's the same for fitness. You know, you have to build a good solid base and work from there. And everybody's goals are different, and there's levels to everything. But you know, if the goal is just to move more and better,
Right.
you know.
If you're going to connect that to self-defense or whatever else you do, so Tai Chi might not be your goal, but you're connecting it to your ability to whatever, whether it's a martial art or even just playing tennis, understanding what you can do is important. And especially when it comes to self-defense, and I'm trying to make a decision between, do I have enough space to get up right now? Do I have enough space where I can run and get to my car or the third party that I'm trying to protect? You need to know what your body is capable of. And then finding those limits and continuing to push them little bits, not trying to leap big giant leaps above that line, but just constantly pushing that line up and getting yourself better so that you can do more and you're more capable for whatever comes next.
If I had some general advice for America as a whole, and probably most societies as a whole, I'd say just get below this level on a daily basis. Meaning we find ourselves either here or standing, and even there's even desks now. People are starting to get those stand-up desks, and they stand up, but you do. It's not like you never stand up. It's just you're trying to keep from just being, you know, kind of lazy sitting down all the time. But nobody ever goes down here, and you lose all this mobility just doing this stuff right here. And this is where people have bad knees. Their knees are like, hey, what are you doing? This is crazy, man. I've never bent this far in 20 years or whatever. Like, hey, bend them. And they're not under pressure. It's not a load. It's not a lot of intensity. I'm just bending it and getting my knee reminded of, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. I don't have to add a lot of weight to it. It's not the same problem that a squat may cause. I don't even do squats a lot anymore, but doing this and just getting up and maybe sitting back on, just getting below seat level sometimes in some form or fashion would be a good start, I think, for people that don't do this at all. Get used to being in this spot. Let your hips remember what it's like to be strong. The strongest part of your body. Here, this power train. Keep it alive. Don't let it become weakened because of non-use, right?
I agree. And on that note, the stuff you can do at home, if you're not going to play in a gym or to fight with somebody, hell, you know, on my super lazy days, which I have like 2 a year, I get to, you know, I'll play tug of war with my dog. And what that's given you, you know, if you find a dog to play with, what that's giving you is it's giving you pressure from directions that you're not deciding that it's coming from, right? It's giving you that reaction. Doesn't have to be hard, but it's got to be reactive.
Right, and you could do that from your butt, sitting on the floor. You could get your feet involved. And I know not everybody's a supple Z or a fit to fight Ryan or a Titan Emery, but you don't have to be. You don't have to be. Look at this old guy. He stays mobile. Look at this. He's mobile right now.
Ow, my pancreas.
I got a bone in my foot.
Now, guys, you see what every one of them just said. All right, now you started it off with super new people to martial arts. I guarantee you're not 8 years old. You're not. You're in the second half of your life already, and it's just now clicking in your head. You know, I should have been doing this forever, and you haven't, okay? But you can't, there's nothing magical you can buy from Amazon or from the local gun store. There's no magical pill you can take that's gonna give you the skill and the physical ability. You can't do it overnight. You put all that gristle on one fork at a time. You're gonna have to take it off one PT session at a time. Get out there and do the physical exercise. And if you're that big muscle-bound guy, we see them come out to the range all the time. By lunchtime, they're wore out from just holding that pistol up because it requires different muscle groups. Unarmed combat's the same way. Combatives is the same way. So get out there. Instead of asking us, push away from the computer keyboard and go sign up at that local fight club, that local dojo. And for us to point for you which is the best martial art for you to pursue, No, it doesn't matter which one. There's great stuff that you can take away from all of them. Every time I would deploy somewhere, a different school, shit, man, we don't have this here, but what do we have? We have Cali here. We have Taekwondo. Really? You will learn something from every instructor that you're ever involved with. But you've got to take the first step and get off the couch.
Yeah, strategy and tactics aside, all the martial arts that I know of will get you moving, right? So kids have told me, I've seen, I think we've seen in the UFC the highest level of competition martial arts, right? Guys that come from Taekwondo backgrounds, and they got awesome flexibility. I mean, if we're looking at just being fit, being mobile, being happy with your body, and not having pain that you getting up out of the bed every day, I wish I'd have done Taekwondo as a kid and been super flexible, and that stuck with me throughout my adult life, right? That'd be great to be that flexible right now. So if that's where you're starting, do that.
Yoga. There's yoga everywhere.
Yoga, perfect.
The best time to start was years ago. The next best time is to start now.
Yep.
Period.
We're gonna fit in one more question in this video. All right, it's from Kraken Tactical, our resident master knife maker on the other side of our pretty blue marble here. He's also extremely long-winded, so Kraken, I'm not reading all that. So I'm gonna cut to your actual question. Why aren't instructors teaching violence instead of self-defense? Because the most violent person walks when I turn physical.
Yeah.
In his broken Aussie English, you guys understand kind of what he's getting, and I'm hoping all you do at home that criminals, all right, they're mammals, right? No, before
Like
I
us.
start this argument, I just want to throw that out there. We're all mammals. Now that lion that adult lion on the Serengeti, it can take down an adult Cape buffalo. It can, but it doesn't do it. It doesn't, because that lion has to feed its family. It has to fight the next day. So instead, that lion preys on the sick, the lame, or they fight as a group. Likewise, mammals are the same way. These perpetrators, these muggers, rapists, whatever it is, these people that are committing the crimes, they are looking for that soft target, right? So part of what Kraken's saying about you being Billy Badass and going with violence right away, yeah, and I've seen other people say, well, I'm not an easy target, so nobody's gonna mess with me. Let's break that down for a second. We've got two people, right? Now, you've got Leonidas with his beard all tattooed up, 230 pounds, muscle-bound guy, and then I've got our 85-pound soccer mom wearing yoga pants.
Not Amber.
No. Which one is the easy target? Which one's the hard target? I want to caution you, because you can take the guy with the Leonidas beard tattooed up in his three-piece suit. He's got his computer bag over his shoulder. He's got his Bose headphones on, and he's walking down the sidewalk knee-deep in his phone. Meanwhile, behind him, you've got the soccer mom pushing a baby carriage. Her head is up on a swivel. The diaper bag is unzipped. She might have a taser there. She might have a thing of bear spray. She might have something. She might have a pistol there. But she's not listening to music. Her head is up, and she has situational awareness. Which one's the hard target? Which one's the easy target? Now, Kraken, that's not what you were talking about. You think, all right, you go physical right away, that's going to solve your problems, right? But I just want to hit on that. All right, now, to touch on what Kraken said about going violent early, what are your guys' takes on? Like you mentioned it earlier while we were talking, make an example out of that first guy. Good strikes, put him down, take away his mind, and then that breaks the hearts of the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, right? If I've got 2 or 3 guys in front of me, and I can't de-escalate, I can't walk, I'm gonna have to go physical. You know, I want to drop one as quickly as possible if the opportunity presents itself. And if that doesn't back the other 2 down, well, at least now I just have 2 to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, and so. And obviously, there's tactics for dealing with that. You know, in my experience, the 2 or 3 times that I've had to deal with a situation like that, I either picked the guy that was the mouthpiece or the biggest guy. Because again, I'm playing this mind game with the other 2. You know,
It's a strategy.
that's right. You know, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But at least I got a shot off from jump before I let 3 dudes just take their shots at me.
But yeah, let me say, I got a few things about this, because those of you who come to my stuff, you know that I'm not so much about technique. I'm all about finding the aggression, finding the violence, the inner violence. And you know, the way we learn Krav Maga in the military in Israel, it's 100% about violence, right? Your first 6 months of Krav Maga, 2 hours every day, you're in push-up position on your fists, and you're just getting kicked in the ribs all day. That's it. That's Krav Maga. And then from there, you know, it's the whole team on one person, and you got to fight your whole, you know, all your guys. That's that's at least the way I read this question. Why are people, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, I see it as, why are people teaching moves instead of teaching you to go berserk? And what works for me doesn't necessarily work for everybody else, but to me, it's about 90% violence or aggression or whatever you want to call it, 10% technique. And I can tell you that from training that way, first of all, it gives you a confidence, and that's not technical, but it's you feel it inside. And the second thing is, I'll tell you this, 99% of physical altercations I've ever been in, whether it's in the military or when I was a bouncer or whatever, have ended before they went physical, because you have, when you project, I know I'm gonna fuck you up without salt. People don't want to fight you, right? And you can be this big, but if you know that you're there and you're present and you can be violent, yeah, that solves a lot of fights before they start. That's my opinion.
Well, techniques fail.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, techniques work, they don't work. Depending on the context, depending on the person applying them, depending on the person you're applying them to.
It depends.
Yeah, that's right. People hate that.
It's true. So my take on that question is this, and all these guys, I'll summarize some of what they said, like, well, you said, why are people teaching that techniques versus the mindset or the aggression mindset? Well, because that's what makes money, right? So I'm going to teach you whatever the demand is out there is where businesses are going to lean towards. Not our business, but the majority of businesses out there trying to make money, right? So can't blame them for it. That's what they do. If you're soaking it up, why ain't they going to sell it to you? That is the path of least resistance, and that's what, as mammals, another aspect of being a mammal, being a human, being fallible, and having an animalistic base instinct, is that you want the path of least resistance, right? What's going to be easier on me? And you guys are buying that stuff. Some people are buying that stuff because it's the path of least resistance. It makes you feel better about your capabilities, even though that may not be true. Once you get done with that course and you learn a whole bunch of techniques, the katas or whatever you may call them. Knowing techniques is good. If you know every technique in the book, but you can't apply it in a violent way, under stress, on demand, it's useless. It's useless. I could be the best shooter in the world. Bullseye shooters, there's plenty of them that's way better than me. They have a way better grasp on the fundamentals of what their trigger finger's doing and how to align that sight picture and sight alignment. Way better than I do. But can they do it when they're moving, when they have to pay attention to what else is going on, when they're fighting, when they're scared as hell? That is necessary, and inherently, anything that you find yourself involved in that involves the term self-defense, combatives, defending your life or someone else's, inherently it's going to involve fear. The physiological effects that we've already hit on several times. You're going to be scared as hell. So knowing that that's inherent and you can't control that, it's going to happen if you get scared, and all of us get scared no matter your level of training, right? I have to be able to do things when I'm scared. The default is learning how to be violent. If I don't have any other answer, I'm aggressive fast, I get a hold of you. The techniques, they enhance that ability for sure, because sometimes you can be overly violent and knock yourself off balance or put yourself in a worse situation, right? We see it, the grapplers out there, the jiu-jitsu guys versus the strict wrestler guys. You get a lot of wrestlers that push forward and put themselves in trouble in those exchanges, right? It's kind of the same thing, same concepts. So
The guy that flails.
the guy that flails, he may be very violent and aggressive, but it's like you do the bullfighter technique. The guy with the most composure in that moment is going to win those when both people are violent. So violent first. Once you know how to flip that switch and be aggressive when it's time to, and you're not freezing because you're just so caught off guard by how could a person do such a thing? we'll go ahead and know that everybody's evil, right? We can all do things that are evil. So be violent and aggressive, get that mindset, flip that switch, and then learn to be composed in that moment. And that's when it goes back to us, and what we do on a regular basis is teach people, hey, here's the violent part, you got that. Now can you be composed under stress when you're tired and your tunnel vision is telling you to look at this one part of the problem and just pay attention to that while they're advancing in another direction. And then we add technique to that and say, all right, well, now when the problem is so complex, you've got a little bit of violence or of action and composure. Now what's the right answer technique wise in those moments? So
we have classes specifically for that, right? And like I have the only death by PowerPoint I do is specifically about
that'll make you violent.
Physiology. It will make you violent, especially if I'm making the death by PowerPoint. That made me really violent. No, but the whole thing's about physiology, right? Mm-hmm. And we don't have to get into that here. But the bottom line is you have to train under conditions of adrenal activation. That physiological chain reaction that happens in your brain when you go into survival mode, you can't feel it for the first time when somebody's swinging a bat at your face. You have to feel it in here on the mats. You have to feel it on the range.
You mean the skill don't magically appear when it's needed?
Only for you.
But the reason people don't teach that is because that's not what people want.
That's uncomfortable.
Because we're lazy. Yeah. We're lazy.
Yeah. That's hard.
Students want you to say, just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
If this, then that.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Hand here,
No,
other
just
hand
tell
here.
me,
Step one, step two.
What would you do if?
Right.
Well, it depends. Fuck, you don't know. Shut up.
You're absolutely right.
And so for me, like watching not just violence and aggressiveness, but also like I teach a lot of women's groups, and once they understand really how to use and engage their body so that they're really putting something into those punches, and now that violence is supporting something rather than just, okay, I'm angry, I'm defending myself and I'm going for it, but they're not engaging their whole body, they're not using their whole body. And so when you see that switch flip and they understand because they've been trying and they feel that groove once and then they feel it again, and then all of a sudden they learn how to really get engaged and get into it. Now it's a whole different thing, and now that I have that behind me, I can choose when I need that violence, right? And there's the physiology in there as well, but if we're just saying, okay, here's a violent situation, go violent, that might not always be the answer. Is now the best time?
Some people's never tapped into that part.
Yeah.
That's part of them
Right.
naturally.
Right.
Whether it be man or women.
Right. If you haven't hit something, you don't know that you have that violent capability. And we could probably go on a tangent on how you define violence. If you feel like you can be aggressive, does that matter if you can't throw a punch? We talked about flailing, right? There's skills that need to be developed. It's not just, okay, be angry, ready,
if you're not
go.
effective, do you just make this person even more aggressive and more angry?
You jump
Right,
out of
yeah,
the frying
yeah.
pan into the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Good points. Good
All
points.
right, so we broke our 30-minute mark already. Matter of fact, we trampled it into the ground. So we're gonna wrap up this video. You can see we're gonna do this as a whole series. So again, I want to thank Fit to Fight for coming out. If you are not subscribing to their YouTube channel, get out there, subscribe it. Give him a like, a thumbs up, because I won't give him one. Right? And Emery needs one every once in a while. We will see you guys next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Y'all take care. Shoot straight. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so you don't miss out on anything.